Welcome back to Lore and Lascannons, fellow researchers, where we will chronicle the Battle of Dread Ridge. On Garrus Prime, the Tyranids of a yet-to-be-named Hive Fleet have begun their invasion, and have sent a force of beasts specially adapted for assaults in the dark. Their carapace black as night. The Blood Angels seek to intercept this force and slay it before they can reach their target and do real damage. This battle is a hammer and anvil deployment with a Purge the Foe mission, both sides wishing to eliminate the enemy completely. The Blood Angels have brought along a vehicle-heavy force to slay the Tyranids, using the Liberator Assault Group detachment. They are led by Captain Tyranids, a captain in Terminator armor equipped with the Rage-fueled Warrior enhancement, which will allow his power sword to gain sustained hits 3 once per battle. He will lead a unit of 5 Terminators. The force also has 5 heavy intercessors: the Vindicator, Baal's Wrath, who has been redeployed to this front to fight against the new foe, Ballistus Dreadnought, Vitrian Ravini has been awakened to fight against the Tyranids, and the final unit is the Land Raider Heretic's Bane. Tyranids, on the other hand, bring an invasion fleet that is led by a Hive Tyrant. The only other character in this force is the Death Leaper, an elite assassin bioform. In the force is also a Biovore, an Exocrine, a Tyrannofex, and the dreaded Norn Emissary. For their hyper-adaptation, they choose Hyper-Aggression, which grants Tyranid units lethal hits against monsters and vehicles. The only unit starting off the battlefield is the Terminators, who will be within the Land Raider. The armies run into each other on Dread Ridge, and the battle begins, the Blood Angels gaining the advantage and taking the first turn. The Norn Emissary chooses the center objective as its singular purpose. While it is on the center objective, it has a 5-up Feel No Pain and an objective control characteristic of 15. The Blood Angels, moving into their first turn, draw Sabotage and Cleanse. Unfortunate turn 1 draws. With no good targets for Oath of Moment, they select the Tyrannofex as their Oath. Heretic's Bane advances and rolls a 4. Knowing well the deadly potential of the Tyranids, they act cautiously and end the turn 1, discarding both secondaries, letting them gain a command point, ending turn 1 with 0 points. On to Tyranids turn 1, they draw no prisoners and establish Locus. Also unfortunate turn 1 draws. In movement, the Norn Emissary advances and gets into its singular purpose objective, but only rolls a 1 on its advance, not enough to get there. The Hive Tyrant utilizes its Will of the Hive Mind ability for a reduced cost stratagem, to urge the Emissary on and re-rolls the advance into a 5. The Tyrant advances as well with a 4, taking cover behind a wall, biding its time while the enemy gets closer. The Death Leaper moves and gets onto the objective, taking it. The Exocrine then moves to get line of sight on the Land Raider, and the Tyrannofex remains stationary, waiting for an enemy vehicle to poke its hull out of cover. The Exocrine fires, and the Land Raider fails a save, taking 3 wounds. This activates its symbiotic targeting rule, which will allow the Norn Emissary to reroll hit rolls of 1 against the Land Raider. The Norn then fires. In response, the Blood Angels use Armor of Contempt on the vehicle, reducing its incoming AP. Because of the Armor of Contempt, the armor holds as 2 3s are rolled to save, and the Raider takes no damage. Tyranids also discard both secondaries and gain a command point, ending the round 1 with 0-0. Into round 2, the Blood Angels begin, scoring 4 points on primary from objectives, controlling the objective, but not more than the enemy, bringing the score 4-0. Secondaries are drawn and area denial and secure no man's land are revealed, doable secondaries. As such, the Blood Angels select the Norn Emissary as their Oath of Moment. Next, movement. Heretic's Bane moves between the Emissary and the Death Leaper. Next, Baal's Wrath and Vitrian Ravini move to get line of sight on the Norn. And finally, the Terminators disembark. They will be able to charge because of the Land Raider's Assault Ramp ability. Seeing this, the Exocrine overwatches the Terminators, but their armor holds and no Terminators are slain. In shooting, the Vindicator begins and fires its Demolisher Cannon. It scores 10 wounds, but the Emissary's singular purpose sustains it, and it only takes 3 wounds after the Feel No Pain. The Hunter-Killer missile deals 4 wounds to it, however, taking it down to 9 wounds remaining. Vitrian fires next, but it has no effect. And finally, the Land Raider fires and splits its fire into both the Norn Emissary and Death Leaper. The Lascannons and Hunter-Killer missile fires into the Norn, while the rest of its loadout fires into the Death Leaper. Into the Leaper, the Multi-Melta scores a successful wound, but the Death Leaper rerolls the save, and it is saved. Twin Heavy Bolter and Storm Bolter have more success, however, and deal 5 damage to the assassin. Into the Norn, the Lascannon rolls a 1 and a 2 on damage, using a command point to reroll the 1 into a 6. And after the Feel No Pains, 6 damage is dealt, leaving it on only 3 wounds. The Hunter-Killer missile misses. Finally, the Terminators fire at the Norn, but no damage is taken. Into the charge phase, the Terminators charge into the Norn and make it. The Land Raider also charges into the Death Leaper and tank shocks, running over the assassin. Captain Nasio uses his Rites of Battle on Red Rampage for a lance, and as the Terminators attack the Norn despite its Feel No Pains, it falls. At the end of the turn, both Area Denial and Secure No Man's Land are scored for a total of 10 points. The Blood Angels have also slain 2 Tyranids. That scores them 4 points on Purge the Foe. That leaves the score 18-0. The Tyranids then take their turn 2. They control objective, but not more than the Blood Angels, scoring them 4 points, bringing the score 18-4. The Tyranids then move. The Hive Tyrant moves to within 6 inches of the Exocrine to give it lethal hits. The Tyrannifex then moves to get line of sight on the Land Raider. And finally, the Exocrine remains stationary, aiming at the Terminators, using the heavy rule on its bioplasmic cannon. This will allow it to hit on 2s. In shooting, the Hive Tyrant uses its Will of the Hiveband rule on Predatory Imperative on the Exocrine, which switches its hyper-adaptation to Swarming Instincts, which will grant it sustained hits against infantry. It then uses Adrenal Surge for 2 command points, granting it 5-up crits. It then fires, and after the spore is clear, 4 Terminators are slain. The Hive Tyrant then fires next, but fails to slay the final Terminator. And next, the Tyrannifex fires into the Raider. The Blood Angels use Smoke, granting it both stealth and benefit of cover. Because of this, only 1 attack gets through and deals 9 damage, taking the Raider to 4 wounds. Onto the charge phase, the Tyrant charges. In the fight phase, the Terminators use a command point on Armor of Contempt. The Leader Beast takes down the last Terminator, but only scores 1 successful wound on the Captain, taking him to 3 wounds. As the Captain strikes back, he scores a lucky hit, and it takes 2 wounds, taking the Tyrant down to 8. Under scoring, the Tyranids have failed to take the center objective, and Area Denial is discarded. Overwhelming Force is scored, however, but they only score 3 points for slaying the 1 unit. They have slain 1 unit and gained 4 points for Purge the Foe. The Blood Angels have slain more units than them, however, and they get an additional 4 points, bringing the score 22-11. On to round 3, the Blood Angels lead by more than 6 points. As such, the Tyranids draw a Challenger card, drawing Harbored Power, or Dug In. Into the Blood Angels' turn, the Tyranids call the Shadow in the Warp, causing every unit to take a Battle Shock test. The Blood Angels remain resolute, except for the Land Raider, whose crew are in disarray after the damage sustained from the Rupture Cannon. As such, the Angels score 4 points, as they control an objective, but not more than the Tyranids, bringing the score 26-11. They draw Defend Stronghold and Assassination, fairly easy secondaries. For Oath of Moment, they select the Hive Tyrant. Movement, Captain Nacio falls back from the Tyrant, using the Rites of Battle on Relentless Assault, allowing him to still charge back into the fray. Vitrion then moves onto the objective, gaining control of the objective and aiming at the Tyrant. Baal's Wrath moves next, gaining line of sight on the Tyrannifex. The Land Raider, despite being battle-shocked, remains stationary, training its Lascannons on the Exocrine. In shooting, Vitrion fires at the Tyrant and deals 4 wounds, taking it down to 4 wounds remaining. Next, the Land Raider fires at the Exocrine and strips 7 wounds from it. Finally, Baal's Wrath opens fire at the Tyrannifex. It uses Rapid Regeneration, as it is in Synapse range, which is a 5-up Feel No Pain. Stitching its wounds back together, it only takes 7 damage from the Vindicator, bringing it to 9 wounds remaining. In the charge phase, Captain Nacio charges the beast, taking it on, and uses his Rage-Fueled Warrior for sustained hits 3. The last command point is used on Red Rampage for Lance. The Tyrant uses Rapid Regeneration for a 5-up Feel No Pain, but it is futile, as the Captain slices clean through the beast, and with his Power Sword, slaying the enemy Warlord. On to scoring, Assassination is scored, gaining the Angels 5 points. Defense Stronghold is ongoing, but seems likely to be scored. They have also slain a Tyranid, granting them 4 points. This brings the score 35-11. Into the Tyranids' turn 3, they control 1 objective for 4 points, but not more than the Angel, bringing the score to 35-15. The Tyranids draw Marked for Death and bring it down. Solid draws. For Marked for Death, the Heavy Intercessors, Vitrion Arvini, and Baal's Wrath are chosen. The Tyrannifex then moves onto the bottom objective, challenging the Vindicator. The Exocrine moves onto the top objective, taking it from the Land Raider. In shooting, the Tyrannifex fires its Rupture Cannon at the Vindicator. The Vindicator deploys a smokescreen, making 1 shot miss, but despite this, a 6 is rolled on damage for the other shot, and with a flat 6 added onto it, it does enough to take the Vindicator down. The Exocrine then fires at the Land Raider. With lucky lethal hits, the Heretic's Bane falls. Going into scoring, Marked for Death and Bring It Down are scored for 9 points. The Tyranids have slain 2 units, more than the Blood Angels, granting them an additional 4 points. The Blood Angels have scored Defense Stronghold, however. This brings the score to 38-34. On to the next turn, the Blood Angels score 4 points as they control an objective, but not more than the Tyranids. For secondaries, Recover Assets and Establish Locus are drawn. Not good draws, but the Angels need not focus on actions right now. If they can slay the remaining beasts, the battle will be won. Oath of Moment is the Exocrine. The 2 remaining Sons of Sanguinius in No Man's Land split up, hoping to end the battle here and now. In movement, the Captain moves closer to the Exocrine, close enough that he needs a 7-inch charge. The Exocrine fires, wishing to slay the Captain before he can charge, but it misses. Vitrion then moves closer to the Tyrannifex, hoping to end its corruption. Shooting, Vitrion fires, and with lucky shots with Lascannon, 2 wounds are scored. The Tyrannifex uses its resilient organism ability to reduce 1 Lascannon blast to 0. It rerolls the save for the second Lascannon, but still goes through. With 1 crack missile also getting through, it takes 7 damage, taking it to 2 wounds remaining. Captain Nasio then fires his Storm Bolter, but it is ineffective. He will do his real damage in melee. Moving to the charge phase, Captain Nasio charges and rolls an 8, charging into the beast. The Dreadnought then charges into the Tyrannifex and uses Tank Shock, stripping off its last 2 wounds and slaying the monstrosity. In melee, the Captain uses his Rites of Battle on Red Rampage, giving in to the Red Thirst, granting his Power Sword both lance and lethal hits. The Tyranids use their last command point on Rapid Regeneration, giving the beast a 6-up field no pain, desperately trying to keep their last real asset alive. It's fruitless, however, as the Captain cuts through the monster, taking it down. With that, the Tyranids don't have enough assets left to win the battle. The final score is 50-34. Tyranids concede defeat and retreat back. The Blood Angels have claimed victory this day and driven the Tyranids back before they could get to their intended target. This victory has not come without casualties, however. The Blood Angels have been wounded this day, but they will stand resolute against any heretic or Xeno who would dare lay claim to this world. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I will see you next time we chronicle the battles of the 41st millennium.